Whether you think it's good or it's bad, Gatlinburg, Tennessee is not the same town that it was 1 or 2 decades ago. And the reason why that's important is because Ripley's Aquarium has been here in Gatlinburg for 24 years. So considering the fact that there are so many new and awesome attractions that are here in Gatlinburg, is Ripley's Aquarium still worth it in 2024? That's exactly what I'm gonna help answer in this video. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go through the aquarium. I'm gonna give you a full tour, let you know where everything is, and give you a sneak peek on what's inside. We're gonna show you some of the new things that they've got going on for 2024. After we go through the tour, we're gonna sit down and we're gonna talk about the 4 pieces of criteria that I evaluate all family attractions on. That is it unique? Is it educational? Is it entertaining? And is it of good value? We're also going to talk about some special programs that most people don't even know exist, even if they visited this place multiple times. So with all that being said, let's go ahead and head inside. Let me show you around and give you a tour of what's inside of Ripley's Aquarium.
Ripley's Aquarium of the Smokies is located in Gatlinburg, and it's located along 441 all the way on the end of Gatlinburg that is closest to Pigeon Forge. Now, this is what I like to think of as, I think in a lot of ways, the busier side of Gatlinburg, but this right here is the aquarium. Now, what's so interesting about the aquarium is that honestly, it is largely a very, very tight space. They've packed so much into this building. It's absolutely incredible. Now, if you're coming in from Pigeon Forge, you're gonna be coming in along 441 here, along 441. And then where we recommend everybody to park, there's 2 parking lots that we think works best. If you're just going to the aquarium and you want to start at the aquarium, honestly, I think that the best place to park is the Gatlinburg City parking lots. It's this tower here right behind. So here's Ripley's Aquarium. It's this tower, this parking garage here behind the aquarium. So all you got to do when you're coming in on 441, just turn onto Greystone Heights Road, and then you'll see the entrance to get to this parking garage right behind Ripley's Aquarium of the Smokies. If you do have just a quick little tip, a little pro tip, little insider's tip, if you have a handicap, anybody traveling with you who is handicapped and needs that assistance, you can actually park for free in this garage. And it's one of the few places where that kind of parking or that free parking or that assistance is available in Gatlinburg. So this here is the parking garage that we recommend. If you're going to the aquarium, you can park here. One other place that you can park is the parking lot here at Antics. Just a word of caution, during the busy time of the year, both these parking garages will get full pretty quickly. So, again, arriving somewhat early is really, really important. Here, the parking lot tends to be a bit more expensive though. So, typically I always encourage people just to park at the city parking garage here, again, back behind Ripley's Aquarium. I always think that's typically the best way to go. Now, the other thing that I just want to pull back really quickly and just give you a little bit of a sense of is, again, where this is located in Gatlinburg. So I'm going to pull back just a little bit so that you can see the entirety of 441 here in Gatlinburg. So you see here is Ripley's. If you travel up 441, this is traveling up to the gateway. They say Gatlinburg is the gateway to the Smoky Mountains, right? And this is the reason why. Because if you travel up 441, this right here is where the national park begins. Okay, so once you leave this side of Gatlinburg, you are in the Great Smoky Mountains National Park. So again, we talked about parking, we talked about location. You have now a pretty good sense of exactly where Ripley's Aquarium is in relationship to everything else here in Gatlinburg. It's off of Greystone Heights Road, 441 River Road, here right across from Antics. Let's go ahead and pull on over to their website so that we can talk about prices and we can talk about how to get tickets. All right, so if you just Google Ripley's Aquarium of the Smokies, you'll find their website pretty easily. It's not going to be a challenge. You'll be able to find it pretty quickly. Now, we always recommend that you get your tickets ahead of time online. That is far easier than dealing with the lines, because there have been times that we have shown up and the lines are very, very long at the aquarium. You definitely don't save money. I think you remember, or you're going to hear this coming up in a review, but you don't save money by getting it in person. So just get your tickets ahead of time, get them online, and it will save you a lot of headache and it'll save you a lot of time when you get to the aquarium. If you're anything like us, saving time when you get there is really important because the kids want to get started. They don't want to sit around and wait for tickets. So when you go here, all you got to do is go to buy tickets online. And what's a little bit confusing about this is when this pops up, I've talked with a lot of guests who are always a bit confused about this. So let me explain what the situation here is when you're getting tickets. There is a lot of attractions in the Gatlinburg Pigeon Forge area that is owned by Ripley's, believe it or not. The aquarium is obviously the best and the biggest and the one that everybody knows, but there's also a lot of other things you can do. So what's interesting about this is that they allow you to be able to purchase combo passes where you can essentially get the aquarium plus several other attractions. Now, if you're interested in getting or going and trying those other attractions, you definitely should go with the combo passes. You'll save money that way. There's no reason not to. But if you're just coming for the aquarium, what you need to make sure that you do is scroll down to single ticket attractions and click on Aquarium of the Smokies if you're just getting a single ticket or going to a single attraction. Okay. Now, the other thing that I'll just mention down here is passes and events. They do have some cool things down here that's just worth taking a look at. You know, they got some cool events called Penguins and Pancakes, Breakfast with a Mermaid. They do these sleepover events, you know, so there's some cool things here, just depending on maybe who your audience is or who your group is and who's traveling with you. Maybe worth looking at what's down there. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna click here on Aquarium of the Smokies. This is where you order your tickets. I just want you to notice that the aquarium adult 12 and up is $40. Relatively. The aquarium child, and they classify anybody a child as being ages 6 to 11, is $25. The aquarium child ages 2 through 5 is about $10. And then there's, a souvenir photo is about $20 if you choose to. You can actually prepay and go ahead and order it ahead of time if you want to. So this is exactly where you would go to purchase your tickets. It's very easy to do online. Just to give you an idea, just so you know, the average ticket price for 2 adults, 2 kids is probably gonna be somewhere in the area of $130, $120 to $140, just depending on your group. That's how much the average family will spend just getting admission to the Ripley's Aquarium. All right, so let's head over to the actual walkthrough so you can make a decision for yourself if it's worth that amount of money for your family and your family's vacation. Here we go. All right, so let's go ahead and start our walking tour of Ripley's Aquarium of the Smokies. So right when you come in, there's a couple of things I want you to take notice of because I think that these are really important for everybody who's visiting for the first time. The first thing I want you to notice is over on the right-hand side is the guest services desk. This is where you can get all of your questions answered, any problems that come up. This is where you can go to get all those things sorted out. Over on the left-hand side, you're going to see the gift shop, and you also see a spot to be able to take pictures with the wave and the surfboard, which is pretty fun in the mountains. Then right behind that is the first sight that you get to see of really everything that you're about to see in the aquarium. My boys always love it. Here you can get lockers to store your equipment in. So if you're coming with bags and you're doing a lot of walking in Gatlinburg, this might be really beneficial and very helpful for you and your family. This right here is one of my boys' favorite spots. Every time they come in, they always they stand on the bench and take a look at the fish. This is going to be the first look at the main area, the main play area for the kids, the main discovery area for the kids, where there's a playground and really several levels that they can kind of search and explore and stretch their legs a bit. We're going to come back around to this area in probably about 10 to 15 minutes. We're going to go through the exhibits first, and then you'll get to see it from the bottom floor looking up when we get down there. There's the lockers again on the right. You'll notice there's the left rooms there on the left. And just keep in mind that it's always a good idea to get the young ones to go in for a quick potty break before you start looking at all the amazing animals and creatures that we're about to take a look at. They always typically will have somebody who's taking photos there. Of course, you can buy those photos later at the gift shop if you want to. Hey guys, today's video is being sponsored by Shangri-La Views, a beautiful 5-bed, 5-bath cabin that has stunning mountain views seen from every single room of the house. Not only that, but there's a relaxing hot tub and fun game rooms featuring a 3-TV mega game station and a gigantic magnetic custom-made Scrabble board the entire family will love to play with. You want to know the best part? This cabin is only 15 minutes away from almost everything you're likely to enjoy during a visit to Gatlinburg or Pigeon Forge. Want to go to Antics or the aquarium?
it's like 10 or 15 minutes away. You want to go to Dollywood or the island, it's around 15 minutes away in the opposite direction. It's the perfect home base for your family during their vacation to the Great Smoky Mountains. If you're looking for a cabin designed to make lasting memories with those that you love, check out Shangri-La Views at the link in the description below to see if your dates are available. If they are, book your dates before they're gone. Now let's get back to the video.
That we're going to be moving through is the tropical rainforest. Now, one of the things I want you to notice here, and I think this is really important, is that depending on the time of the year that you come and depending on the time of day that you arrive, this is a good example of how busy it can get. And I really, really encourage families to consider coming when it's not quite so busy. It does get better as you move through the rest of the exhibit. The lines thin out just a little bit, but if being so close to crowds isn't really your thing, then I would really encourage you to take a look at getting there first thing when they open, or a little bit later in the evening. Both those times tend to work better. And also just in general, visiting Gatlinburg in the off season, it's also going to be far less busy. Now, I will say when I'm visiting here, this is really the beginning of March. So it definitely hasn't gotten busy in Gatlinburg yet. But the day of this recording was a Saturday, and I will say it was about 2 p.m. So it was probably the busiest day of the week during the busiest time of the day, which is what's leading to the crowds, even if it is during the off season. Making our way through the rainforest area. You know, many people don't know this, but in 1997, Ripley's Entertainment actually took its biggest step towards branching into more forms of family entertainment. And the first aquarium that Ripley's ever opened was actually in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. And again, that was in 1997. This opened shortly thereafter. Ripley's Aquarium of the Smokies actually opened in the year 2000. And then soon after that, well, I said soon, it was actually 13 years later, Ripley's Aquarium of Canada opened up in 2013. A lot of people don't realize, though, there's only 3 Ripley's Aquariums in existence. The one in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, the one here in the Smokies, and the one that's in Canada. Next up is going into the ocean realm. Now, I will be honest with you, this is one of my personal favorites. Every time we walk into this space, I'm always excited. And this is just such a great example. I mean, one of the cool things about this exhibit, and one of the things I think that makes it so interesting and so fascinating, there's lots of education, you know, beside the tanks, beside the viewing areas, they've got all kinds of informational posters up. But it almost really does feel like the entire aquarium was designed where every new tank that you were looking at, it just feels like you're looking at something so different. It never gets boring. Every single time that you go and you see a new creature, sometimes it's a big creature, sometimes it's a small creature, sometimes it's a large rectangular tank, sometimes it's a small circular tank. It's just so thoughtfully designed where it always keeps you interesting. It always keeps you guessing what's coming up next and what you're going to be looking at and seeing next. It's one of the things I always appreciate about Ripley's Aquarium of the Smokies. And I will say that for years, Ripley's Aquarium of the Smokies has been one of the top ranked aquariums in the entire country. And that's probably for good reason. Again, here you can get a really good sense of just how many people there can be. And again, keep in mind, this is still towards the beginning of the aquarium, just a little bit. Again, the crowds will thin out as we go, but again, you know, it's important to remember, if you're not a fan of crowds, really choosing a time of the year where it's a little less crowded, a time of the day and a time of the week that's a little less crowded would probably go really, really far. And of course, for brevity, I'm moving through the exhibit pretty fast. You know, I mean, you could definitely take your time. You could definitely go slower, which I would encourage you to do. Most everybody that you see around are basically waiting, you know, in line to be the next up to the tank. I'm just kind of moving a little bit quicker, not spending too much time at any one tank or any one place. I want to make sure I can get through the entire exhibit for you guys and show you everything that's there. This is amazing. I would actually love, I'm not entirely sure if Ripley's Aquarium does any kind of like backstage tour or backstage pass, but I would love to get a better understanding about how all the life support systems in the aquarium work. I think that'd be fascinating to learn about. Somebody asking me about my camera. So what we're coming up on next is kind of the top area, the top portion. You can actually look over these bridge areas into the pools below. You don't really see too much from up there. There's not much to see from this angle. But again, it's all well designed. You know, it really does feel like you're getting a unique experience, and it's doing its best. That, you know, the aquarium, and again, going back to the way it's designed, it's doing its best to just transport you into a different place. It always feels very much like, I don't know, Disney. Like, you know, when you go to Disney World and some of the places in Disney World you go to, you just always think to yourself, man, it feels like I'm somewhere different. I feel like I'm somewhere new all the time. A lot of people typically ask, how long do they think, you know, you should budget to move through Ripley's Aquarium? Typically, the aquarium recommends 2 to 3 hours. That's typically what they say. But you know, like your mileage will vary there. I mean, you really probably could spend far longer. If you're the type of person who really likes to take their time, really gaze at the animals and the creatures that are in the tank, read all the information beside every single one of the tanks. Oh, this is very cool. So this is the glass bottom boat adventure. So this is actually an add-on. I'll come back to what I was saying in just a second, but this is actually an add-on. And the way they describe this is venture into the heart of Shark Lagoon and be surrounded by 8,500 aquatic animals representing more than 75 different species from the Atlantic and Caribbean reefs. From Sally, our resident green sea turtle, to sawfish and thousands of other exotic sea creatures. So this is actually a ride, and again, you can see it going there in the background. The Glass Bottom Boat Adventure departs every 20 minutes from 10 a.m. to 9 p.m. every single day. Now that does change, I'm sure. Like, there's probably some things that go on during the year, but that's typically, especially during the busy season, the way it works and when it departs. The price for that is $12.99 per person, and that is in addition to your aquarium admission. So that's just important to keep in mind. But what I was saying earlier, you know, again, the mileage really does vary. I mean, if you're the type of person, you know, that you want to you spend a whole day there, you really take your time, really spend, you know, 5 minutes, 3 to 5 minutes at a exhibit, read the information, take a look at the creatures, read the information, take a look at the creatures. You know, you really could likely spend a lot more time and really maximize, you know, your stay there. So I encourage, you know, if you can go slower, that's awesome. I gotta tell you, my wife and I, we can only go as slow as our kids will allow, to be honest. Again, like what we're looking at here is just speaking again to just like the diversity of the displays, the diversity and the quality of, you know, just the ability to keep people's interest, because it feels like every time you walk around another corner, there's always something interesting, new, a different perspective to look at. I love that. The sea is a vast reservoir of nature. That's very cool. So what you're looking at now is the top area of the children's playground. And again, this is really, really, really cool. I mean, we've been in several aquariums. Most notably, we often go to the Atlantic Aquarium, and I don't remember there ever being anything quite like this at the Atlantic Aquarium. What you're seeing is a 2-story play area that the kids are able to, again, just run and stretch and have a really good time with. So the kids are able to climb up, take the slide back down. What's very cool about this area is that it is enclosed, and you can see their children enter and exit upper level only. So if they go up to the upper level, there's nowhere for them to go but back down to that slide. So it's very enclosed. It's very, as a parent, you feel very safe having your child go and play in that area. Which, again, as a parent, we always appreciate, especially in a place that is so busy that you have so many people and you're just wanting to keep an eye on your children. It's awesome that they can go, again, run and play in kind of an area that you can feel assured that there's no other exit for them to enter or exit out of. Right up there to the top left is where we first came in. That's the main entrance. We're seeing a little bit more of the tropical rainforest now as we're transitioning into the next area of the aquarium. Now, as we're going through this next section, I want to mention that, I don't feel like I've never felt like, even when I'm going through this attraction with my family, I've never really felt like we needed a map, but they do have maps of the aquarium available. So they do have them. I believe you can pick one up at guest services. They have them on the website, so you can go on the website and get it as well. But they also have maps that are just posted throughout the aquarium. And typically, if I ever just want to see how to get somewhere or how to backtrack a little bit to see something that I want to go back and see, I've just before looked at those maps and used the ones that are posted. I've never really felt like I needed one in my hand to navigate the aquarium because, again, it's designed overall so thoughtfully. I mean, you basically only have one way to go. And just following that pathway, following the crowd, you'll make your way through every one of the exhibits and you'll get a chance to see everything. All right, we're coming up on one of my next favorite areas. That is the coral reef. I love this area. There is something about seeing all the beautiful colors that you're about to experience that really get me excited every single time that we get to come to this area. And the seahorses. I love the seahorses. As we were talking earlier, we were talking about the map, but I think that there's something that I want to mention to you that I think is really, really important that almost no one realizes at first. And that is, at the aquarium, they actually have daily activities that go on. They have scheduled activities that happen. And some of these are very, very cool. So what I want to do is I'm just going to give you, just to give you an idea of what the different activities that happen are. Some of them are penguin feedings. You'll get to see the penguins coming up in just a little bit. There is a Ray Bay dive show, which is very, very cool. And up there, you see the coral reef dive times. They've got those posted so that you can actually see what time they have people diving into the tank. That's always a lot of fun. And the kids just love seeing the divers and the scuba gear come on down. It's always a really, really cool experience. There's coral reef shows that occur throughout the day. And so with all that being said, it's just important when you do check in, stop by the guest services and just ask for a schedule for the day, and they'll let you know what's going on and when it's going on and where you need to be in order to be able to take advantage of those special activities that kind of occur throughout the day at the aquarium. There's actually going to be something we're going to show you here pretty soon that's really special. It's a new thing that they're doing here at the Ripley's Aquarium of the Smokies, and it is the Penguin Parade. I actually got a chance to see the Penguin Parade. It was pretty cool. So we'll get to see that coming up here in just a few minutes. This might be one of the first sharks we see here on this tour. Absolutely stunning. Really beautiful. This area right here is very cool. We've done this before. It's just a really amazing area. This is kind of the first time that the kids get to have a very immersive experience in front of a gigantic tank. So the kids always love this area. And there's those seating benches in the back, or that seating area in the back. It's just one of the areas that my wife and I love the most because it just gives us a chance to take a break and to kick back for just a few minutes. And the kids are wholly interested or fully interested, maybe that's the better word. They're fully interested in the gigantic shark tank. That's the other thing that I've always thought is just so fascinating about this area is that it feels like the tanks are so clear. You know, it's not difficult at all to be able to see the wildlife and to see the creatures that are inside the tanks. All right, now we're coming up to one of the main events, one of the main features of the entire aquarium, and that is the Shark Lagoon. This area is so awesome. Yeah, so what you're seeing here is the line waiting for the moving sidewalk. And this is what's so cool about this tunnel. Again, the main feature really of the aquarium is really 100% immersive, what you're about to experience. And so they have a moving sidewalk that everybody's kind of waiting to get on. And so it gives you the opportunity to basically just stand still and move slowly through the tunnel to be surrounded by water, sharks, fish, all kinds of aquatic life. It's such a cool experience. Now, that's not the entire area. There's actually a walkway right next to it. So you can kind of see, I'm looking down like, yeah, that's the moving sidewalk that my feet are on. There's an area on the right-hand side though. If I wanted to, I could walk, you know, right beside everybody who's moving on the moving walkway, but I figured this might be a smooth experience for you. So I just stayed on the walkway for at least a few minutes. Yeah, and you see, this is what's so cool. Like, you're just moving by and just, I mean, inches away, you get such an up close and personal experience when you get to see the wildlife that's in the tank. I wonder if that's the correct word, wildlife? If it's in a tank? Is it wild? The creatures in the tank? And you can notice it's getting dark. It really is dark. There's sections of the tunnel where it gets really dark and then it just opens up. But again, it's so well designed. It just keeps your interest the whole time. You never feel like you're looking at the same thing for too long, ever. Yeah, look how incredible. And yeah, I hope you hear the kids in the background. Whoa, everybody sees. I mean, it's not every day that you see a shark in real life, much less a shark in real life up so close. Yeah, very cool. And actually, you can even see through the tank up there up top where people are looking out over. That's where we were just a short time ago, earlier in the tour. How beautiful. As I'm watching, I'm just sitting here with a giant smile on my face. It's just so cool. One of the huge reasons that this aquarium is constantly ranked one of the top aquariums in the country. For good reason. It's so thoughtfully designed. Yeah, check that out. Sawtooth shark. And again, the tunnel is fully immersive. You can see at this point, I actually got off because it was going a little too slow. So I got off and now I'm just kind of walking right beside everybody through the tunnel. But it's honestly, it's pretty tough not to want to go back and do it 2 or 3 more times. As a matter of fact, the last time that our family was there, we actually came with another family. And I remember that my oldest boy and their boy wanted to go back through the tunnel one more time. So we went all the way through the aquarium and then walked through the entire place again just so that they could go through this experience one last time. There you see the bottom of the glass bottom boat adventure. that we saw up top. That's actually, so yeah, I mean, you can see the shark swimming right underneath. So that's the experience you get with the glass bottom of the boat. We've actually never done it, to be honest. We've never been on the boat before. Maybe we need to do that this next time. It would be a cool experience just to see what it's like. If I can convince my wife to get into a boat right over shark-infested waters. And you see what's amazing is that the tunnel's still going. I mean, now we're in the next stretch of the tunnel. And you might be shocked to hear this, but this tunnel is actually 340 feet long. And it's very, very cool. It allows everybody to see sharks and sea turtles and stingrays, all kinds of exotic sea animals face to face. And that's basically the experience the whole time. I mean, everybody's got their phones just pointed straight up, trying to capture as best as they can the really amazing sea life that's in those tanks. As we're moving through, something else that's really, really interesting is that the aquarium actually holds 1.4 million gallons of water. And it's home to over 100,000 exotic sea creatures. 100,000 sea creatures in this one building. Hey guys, today's video is being sponsored by Shangri-La Views, a beautiful 5-bed, 5-bath cabin that has stunning mountain views seen from every single room of the house. Not only that, but there's a relaxing hot tub and fun game rooms featuring a 3-TV mega game station and a gigantic magnetic custom-made Scrabble board the entire family will love to play with. You want to know the best part? This cabin is only 15 minutes away from almost everything you're likely to enjoy during a visit to Gatlinburg or Pigeon Forge. Want to go to Antics or the aquarium? It's like 10 or 15 minutes away. You want to go to Dollywood or the island? It's around 15 minutes away in the opposite direction. It's the perfect home base for your family during their vacation to the Great Smoky Mountains. If you're looking for a cabin designed to make lasting memories with those that you love, check out Shangri-La Views at the link in the description below to see if your dates are available. If they are, book your dates before they're gone. Now let's get back to the video. Yeah, how cool. I always think their mouths look funny. And it's interesting because I think that every single time we've been to the aquarium now maybe 5 times, or I've been there maybe 5 times, 5 or 6 times. One more look at the shark. How cool. And I think every single time that I've been there, I have always seen the sawtooth sharks laying basically right on top of the glass just like that. I don't know that I've ever seen them just out swimming. That's actually interesting now that I think about it. Here's another stop to be able to get some neat pictures for you and the family. Again, you can pick those up in the gift shop at the end. Here's a kiosk where you can purchase your glass bottom boat tours. And this right here is actually the same area that we saw earlier. It's just another way to get to it. This is the place where you have those benches. And I said this was the first time you have an immersive experience in front of a big tank. It's just a different way to get to that spot. All right, so you'll notice as we come out to the bottom area, what's really interesting is that, you know, you've got some souvenirs that you can pick up here if you want to. And there's also some small things like Dippin' Dots. There's some small concessions down here. If you want to take a break, you can. A lot of parents use this as an opportunity to take a load off and to let their kids run free and have a good time inside of this 2-story play area. There's also some really, really cool interactive exhibits right here. This right here, I believe, is where you can actually touch jellyfish. Now, touch jellies. Look at that. Now, it wasn't open. I didn't get a chance to. Got to be honest, I don't know that I would have stuck my hand in there anyway. Yeah, those are real jellyfish. I'm sure it's safe, though. I'm sure it's safe. I want you to notice that down here, there are also restrooms available. So you notice them back in the corner there. So if I remember correctly, and I'm kind of thinking back through, this is one of the few areas of the entire aquarium where there's restrooms. So it's just important to realize that these are here and take advantage of them. Here's all the, my son calls them Nemo fish, clownfish. Again, I'm always just struck by how beautiful and clear and clean these tanks are. I can't imagine what it's like for them to clean tanks and to keep everything looking so clean, just to make sure that everybody who comes through every single day has a great experience. Here again, you can see the multi-level play area. Again, what's really cool is that they're self-contained, so if your child goes up into the play area, again, there's only one place for them to come out, and that's if they come back down. Hey, guy. Really cool blowfish. Oh. Is it weird that I kind of want to get in there and swim? She looks like she's having a good time. Here's one more look at those restrooms. It's also kind of cool because right here along the wall, there's also some just fun little interactive games are the wrong words, but they're educational spots, which I think is kind of cool. You can kind of speed it up and slow it down. I had a little bit of fun here with because this is actually honestly the first time that I ever played with it. So I was like kind of curious to see what it would do. And I was like, oh, this is cool. It kind of speeds it up, makes it go really fast. Really beautiful scenes. And I was like, let me go backwards. Let me see what that does. So I was like, oh, got it. Okay. But it's super cool, like, and very educational, like being able to allow your kid to be able to stop it, you know, like to be able to stop it and to be able to see in slow motion. They can actually control and understand exactly what's going on with the frog's tongue. I was just having some fun. What you can see here is that they're bringing out the penguin parade, and they actually have the time on it. Starts at 1:15. And this is the area, speaking of the penguin parade, this is where it starts, in this area down here. So they'll actually start the parade. And when I say a parade, you'll see it here in just a minute. They really do bring the penguins out, and they are outside of their area, outside of their tank, and they are just walking among the crowd. It is crazy to watch. It is very cool and very fun. Again, there's some areas where everybody can just kind of, the parents can sit back and just have a good time while their child climbs. There's an area here for them to be able to put up their shoes, just little cubby holes for their shoes. Again, there's some more concessions, Dippin' Dots. They can get some drink products. All right, so here's the next section is the Gallery of the Seas. The Gallery of the Seas. Another really, really beautiful area with lots and lots of very colorful fish and creatures. I thought it'd be kind of cool as you're kind of seeing what all's here is just to read a couple of reviews online of Ripley's Aquarium and the Smokies. Again, these are just Google reviews, and what you'll notice is that on Google, Ripley's Aquarium has a 4.6 rating, 4.6 out of 5, and that is from 37,000 people, over 37,000 people. So just a few of the most recent, like this one came from 2 days ago. Somebody said, took the grandbaby for her first trip and she absolutely loved it. Great attraction with plenty to see and do. Clean facilities and restroom. The moving floor with almost 360 view of the fish was amazing. Feeding the stingrays was scary but exciting. Another review here says, Ripley's Aquarium of the Smokies was a great place for a rainy day in the mountains. The exhibits were well laid out and featured plenty of viewing spaces with children in mind. The shows were educational but also interactive to keep your focus. The Shark Tunnel gives you a unique perspective, getting you up close and personal. They also offer opportunities to touch some of the creatures. I recommend making this a stop on your Smoky Mountain adventure. Both of them gave a 5-star review. Wow, check out that crab. That thing is awesome. I'll read just a few more. This next person gave another 5-star review. It says, really nice aquarium. Our kids are animal lovers and we often plan trips around the zoo or aquarium. This was the one destination we planned to attend on our week here and was not disappointed. Well laid out, beautiful and unique exhibits. The playground in the middle gave the kids a chance to burn some energy as well. Stingray feeding was a blast. They also do a penguin march every day where they walk the penguins through the aquarium. My kids loved it. Highly recommend. This next person gave another 5-star review. Says, I wasn't sure what to expect going in, but after entering, I was pleasantly surprised. There was a nice variety of marine life. The penguin parade was just adorable. And there's a tunnel under the main aquarium with a moving walkway that took you through it, which was nice. This next review is a 4 out of 5 stars. Enjoyed this experience with my wife and daughter as part of our Christmas getaway this year. They had a festive music playing, and it was the perfect inside temperature and welcoming from the brisk air outside. To be in such a tight area, they have a wide variety of species to observe. Lots of interactive displays for families to enjoy. Do be prepared for a slightly pricey concession, but that goes for everything in Gatlinburg, really. Thank you, Ripley's, for showing us some cool sea life. We had a great time. This next review is another 5-star review. This was given 2 weeks ago. This review says, great experience for the kids. It was advertised as the best aquarium in the US. I don't agree, but it's definitely worth a visit. Lots of interactive things. The penguin exhibit allows kids to crawl inside for a better view, and they do. And that is a very, very cool part of the penguin exhibit. This next one is another 5-star review. It says, my family went right after New Year on a weekday. We showed up about 9:30 and finished going through all the exhibits about 11. So yeah, that's the typical 2-hour-ish, give or take some. I'm gonna take a break right here and I'm gonna talk about this, the Ring of Fire exhibit. So this is new here at Ripley's Aquarium, and I've got to say, it was cool. It was very, very cool. It had very much like a Polynesian Moana theme. And what was interesting was the last time that my family and I came to Ripley's, the exhibit here was actually about Ripley's himself, and that was interesting. It wasn't bad. It was kind of cool. So don't get me wrong, it was still entertaining. It was still interesting, but I honestly, personally, really, really enjoyed this exhibit better. This is a section of the aquarium that they often rotate out with new content and new and fresh things to look at, things to learn from. So I don't know how often they change this area out, but it was very cool. Look at that. It's like Moana's fish hook in there, or Maui's fish hook. Is it Maui? I think it is Maui. And again, just for brevity, just for the sake of the tour, I'm going pretty quickly through all this. You could really slow down and take your time through here. All right, so going back to the review. So this person said they got there at 9:30 in the morning and they got through with everything at 11. So it says, we were leaving at 11. The parking lot was packed and there was a line down the road for people trying to get access. There was also a line at the ticket booth of people waiting to get tickets. I would recommend going first thing in the morning or towards closing to skip the lines and crowds. Additionally, I had bought our tickets in advance online and got to skip the line altogether, so I highly recommend doing that. You do not save anything by purchasing in person, and your tickets are good for a year from the date of purchase. With all that being said, the aquarium itself was fantastic, and it is no wonder it was so busy. If you're visiting or traveling even remotely close to this place, I would dare say it is a must visit. We do not have children, so as 2 adults, we had an absolute blast. I love that. Yeah, the facilities are beautiful, clean, and top of the line. There were so many cool creatures and things to do. There is a touch pool for manta rays, which includes the option to feed them. There's a penguin parade where they can bring the penguins out, and there are educational talks. There's also a penguin encounter, which we paid extra for, and it was well worth it. It was a group of about 10 people, and we got to talk to staff one-on-one, pet the penguin, and get a great picture. It was included in the price. This added about another hour onto our visit. Throughout the aquarium, there were food facilities and plenty of places to sit. The aquarium also includes eye-level exhibits you can see from above the water, and even walk through exhibits that were surprisingly long and included a conveyor belt ride, which was also a novelty. Lastly, when leaving, we got to see the gift shop, which has something in the price range for literally everyone. The shop even includes art done by the penguins, which is pretty unique. Wait a minute, I've never seen that. I didn't know they had that. That's cool. I might actually pick that up. That's cool. We walked away with 2 items from the shop for an affordable $25. All in all, if your family are even the least bit interested in animals or nature, visit. If you're still on the fence, they had a trophy saying they were voted the best aquarium in America in 2018. If you don't go, it is your loss. That was a great review. Yeah, and you can really get an idea of what I was saying earlier. I mean, if you were to take your time and really stop and really read everything, you would be shocked at probably how long it would take you to get through all the pieces. This is very cool. It's like a reproduction of Easter Island. You know, the heads on Easter Island, very cool. And they got some interactive things for the kids. There's like a interesting, cool Connect 4 game here. This very cool thing teaching people about what all the different tattoos are. A little place to be able to take pictures. You can tell that they put a lot of effort and a lot of time and energy into these exhibits. So it's always really, really cool when I see something like this. And of course, I've always been interested in the Polynesian culture. So I thought it was awesome. All right. As we transition out of the Polynesian area, this is pretty cool. I'm almost positive what they're doing is cleaning. That's what they're doing. They're doing some cleaning in the tank. But it's pretty neat that you get to see somebody actually diving into the manta ray area. See the manta ray there. All right, so as we leave this new section, the Polynesian culture and creature section, we're making our way back out to the main space here, and we're going to follow where it says the aquarium continues this way. We're going to follow into the next space. We're coming towards the end of the tour though, so this is getting close, but we still have a few really interesting and fun things to see. We're coming up on Stingray Bay. This is a very, very cool area right next to the main food court, one of the main food areas where you can pick up lunch or dinner. And it's got a gigantic immersive wall where you can watch all the stingrays. It is absolutely mesmerizing. It's very, very cool. Lots of people, you can see even here, lots of people come in, they just sit on the floor and just watch because of how much fun it is just to see all of the, it looks like they're flying in the water. It's very, very cool. In addition to sitting on the floor, there's also some stadium seating on the other side of the floor. Oh, hammerhead, that's very cool. It looks like there's several hammerheads in that tank. Yeah, so you see some seating back there in the back, some benches to be able to sit on. And then up above it, you know, you can actually grab lunch, like I said, lunch or dinner, something from the concession area, something from the food court, and you can actually bring it and sit there and eat while you're watching the stingrays. I've actually never done that, but we should sometime soon. Here is Feeding Frenzy. So this is the area. I'm actually going to take a walk up and just kind of show you a few of the things that they got here. This really is a great option. If you're moving a little slow, maybe if you're with a big party, if you're interested in spending some time, you know, more than the average 2 to 4 hours. Oftentimes my family typically goes in the morning. That's typically what my family enjoys doing. So typically we've left the aquarium when we eat somewhere in Gatlinburg. We just walk to somewhere in Gatlinburg to eat. This restaurant is available here inside the aquarium if you want it. Here's kind of the eating area. And again, you can walk and I'll take you all the way there, but you can find a place along the kind of bar area to be able to sit and relax and eat and just watch the incredible stingrays flying in the tank. All right, so as we leave this area, the next place that we're going to go to is going to be the penguin exhibit. This is one of the coolest things about the Smokies aquarium, I think. And it's a lot of fun. Our kids always love seeing the penguins. You'll see there's a sign for the all-new penguin parade on the left. That's going to be coming up here in just a few minutes. And just so you know, they actually show the map. So this is the penguin parade route that they take. It actually starts in the play area and winds its way through the entire aquarium up to this spot. All right, so here you get to actually see a little bit of the penguin parade. This is actually right outside the penguin exhibit. I actually just stopped here and waited for everybody to make their way down. The last one was actually a trip. It's very cool, honestly. The people, the caretakers for the animals, they really, and you can see her, she has a good connection with that penguin up there in the top right hand corner of the screen. She was calling out to the penguin and the penguin came to her. They have such a great connection, and it was really fun getting to see all of these caretakers interact with the penguins. And it was really funny because they were kind of getting on to this penguin, saying, let's go, let's go, let's go. That penguin was just taking its time, waiting for its debut. It really is a wild experience, though, just seeing these penguins, you know, just walking through the aquarium. You know, they do ask everybody to stand back. They have everybody form a tunnel on both sides, you know, and they ask everybody to be, you know, don't get down low, don't get up close to them. They, you know, they ask everybody to be safe and obviously be courteous and be respectful. And so, you know, it's not like you can necessarily pet the penguins, but still just a lot of fun. All right, continuing on with our tour in the penguin area. Again, like there's so many cool areas where you can just sit around forever and watch the penguins jump into the water, swim all over the place. These tunnels down here are super awesome. So if you have kids, they're able to actually crawl through the tunnel and get up to the other side and pop their head up in that glass area that you see back there. And they're right there, right next to the penguins. It is so cool. It's such a fun experience. It seems like every time I see a kid pop their head up in that area, there's just a huge smile on their face. It's such a neat experience to feel like you're right there with all the penguins. All right, so continuing on, you can see up there at the top, it says, thanks for visiting the Penguin Playhouse. This is approaching the end of the tour. This is approaching the end of the aquarium's visit. The Penguin Playhouse is actually one of the last areas of the entire aquarium. Penguins say in this way. The final thing that you're going to see up here up top is going to be the place where you can really interact with the stingrays, which is very, very cool. I do recommend being safe, taking all the precautions, following all the rules. You'll see when we get up there up top that there will be some people who are just kind of watching over, just making sure that everybody is doing what they're supposed to and everybody's doing everything safe. Here's the area outside of the gift shop where you can get pictures taken all throughout the aquarium. So if you're interested in doing that, you can stop by and check out pricing and get information on that, depending on what pictures you want and what your packages are, those kind of things. Here's the main tank area. So there is stingrays in that area of the tank. There's also the sharks, but right over here where the sharks don't come is a far more shallow area. This is where all the stingrays kind of hang out. So this is where you have the opportunity to pet a stingray if you want to, and it is cool. I gotta say, it feels a little slimy. I actually tried it. It's a cool experience, but it's definitely like once you touch it one time, you don't touch it again.
Hey guys, today's video is being sponsored by Shangri-La Views, a beautiful 5-bed, 5-bath cabin that has stunning mountain views seen from every single room of the house. Not only that, but there's a relaxing hot tub and fun game rooms featuring a 3-TV mega game station and a gigantic magnetic custom-made Scrabble board the entire family will love to play with. You want to know the best part? This cabin is only 15 minutes away from almost everything you're likely to enjoy during a visit to Gatlinburg or Pigeon Forge. Want to go to Antics or the aquarium? It's like 10 or 15 minutes away. You want to go to Dollywood or the island? It's around 15 minutes away in the opposite direction. It's the perfect home base for your family during their vacation to the Great Smoky Mountains. If you're looking for a cabin designed to make lasting memories with those that you love, check out Shangri-La Views at the link in the description below to see if your dates are available. If they are, book your dates before they're gone. Now let's get back to the video.
Again, here is the photo spot for people who's wanting to pick up their photos. Here is a very, very, very cool set of megalodon jaws, just to kind of give some scope to how big the megalodon was. Lived about 2 million years ago. Absolutely incredible. One more look at the stingrays here, the stingray pool. The final thing that I'll show you really quickly is when you leave this area, the Stingray pool. Sometimes they'll have some kind of special events. There's the gift shop right there. We'll come back to that in just a second. Sometimes they have special events. Most of it is geared towards fundraising for the aquarium, and they just had a great, very cool silent auction going on over here, and I just thought I would include some of this. It's, you know, you may or may not see this when you actually come to the aquarium, but it's still pretty cool. So we got the office here, we got some signed memorabilia, you know, jerseys, things like that, that if you so chose to, you could put in, you know, name your price for the auction to see if you might be able to win it. And again, I'm sure that the proceeds go to the aquarium and to the aquarium's efforts for research and conservation. All right, so with that, the final piece is the gift shop itself. I'm going to walk you through the gift shop really quickly just so you can get a sense of what all's here. It is a lot. If you choose to, you could go straight through that spot right there and actually go through the aquarium again. I mean, you could if you chose to, and that's totally fine. But if you choose to take a right, this is going through the aquarium. They've got all kinds of things from hats to shirts to stuffed animals, water bottles, coffee mugs. I told you in that review that I shared with you a little earlier, they apparently they've got paintings that the penguins have made, which is very cool. I've never seen those before, but I definitely want to check it out next time I go. As we're wrapping up, guys, I would love to know, let me know in the comments, I mean, what piece of this tour was the most interesting? What did you see here that you want to make sure that when you come to the aquarium that you check out yourself? I'm curious if you have kids like I do, what part of the aquarium do you think that they're going to like the most? All right, now what you saw there is the entrance. So as you exit the gift shop, it will actually place you right at the entranceway to the aquarium. So you get to exit exactly where you entered. I hope this walking tour has been super helpful. Let's head outside and I want to share with you my thoughts. Is the Gatlinburg Ripley's Aquarium worth it in 2024? Let's dive into it.
Okay, so let's answer the question. Is Ripley's Aquarium still worth it in 2024? I've got to say, I think it's a resounding yes. It's still worth it even in 2024. Ripley's has been here now for 24 years. It first opened in 2000 and is still one of the major attractions in the entire state of Tennessee for a reason. When I go through attractions like this, I always evaluate it on 4 different principles. Is it unique? Is it educational? Is it entertaining? And is it of good value? And here, going through this again in 2024, I can say it pretty much checks all those boxes. So let's talk about each one of those. First, is it unique? Guys, unless you live near the ocean, even if you do, there's honestly not that many good aquariums around. Ripley's Aquarium here in the Smokies has constantly been on almost every top 5 list when it comes to the best aquariums in the country. And it's that way for a reason. It's got a great mix of unique animals, really interesting scenes, and lots of things for kids to do. The entire playground area is awesome. As you know, if you have young kids like we do, they tend, even with something as interesting and different as this is, they tend to get bored after a little while. So to have a place where they can crawl and stretch and climb and play really re-energizes their mind and gets them refocused so that you can go through the rest of the attraction. So when it comes to unique things to be able to take your kids and be able to take your family and do, especially here in the Smokies, I honestly can't think of anything more unique than this. 10 out of 10. All right, so what about education? It is immensely educational. Even I learn things going through. I'm 38 years old and I was stopping and reading the information next to each one of the tanks, constantly learning new things, mostly because they're constantly evolving certain parts of this exhibit. In addition to that, they also have regular and ongoing educational programs available not only to children, available to a wide variety and a wide group of people. So when we talk about it being educational on a scale of 1 to 10, I gotta say it's a 10, 100%. All right, so is it entertaining? Yes, it's a 10 out of 10. On the website, they actually say schedule at least 2 hours to come visit the aquarium with your family. But honestly, I think you could spend up to 4 hours here. My family and I, with our 3 small boys, have come here several times in the past, and typically we spend an entire morning here. We'll have breakfast in Gatlinburg, we'll walk to the aquarium, we'll spend the morning here, and then we'll have lunch out in Gatlinburg before heading for a hike or going back to the cabin. I think there's enough here to keep an entire family entertained for a good deal of time, regardless of how old you are or regardless of what your past experience has been with aquariums. All right, finally, let's talk about value. Is it worth the money and the time? So the tickets for a single ticket pass are adults $40 essentially. For children, they consider children to be 6 to 11 is $25. And then for toddlers, so basically ages 2 to 5, it's $10. For anybody 2 and under, it's absolutely free. Is the value worth it? I mean, you know, for a family of 2 adults, it's $80 plus another 50. Yeah, I mean, you know, you're looking at spending probably just on average, maybe if you get lunch here, if you decide to come and maybe stay here or you pick up some souvenirs, you're probably looking at spending for a family of 4 about $150. Is the 4 hours that you'll spend in the aquarium worth $150? I gotta say it is. I mean, again, going back, it checks off every single one of the boxes. It's unique. It provides a great educational experience for the kids, even for the adults. It is highly entertaining. So yeah, I gotta say, I think it's worth it. I can stand behind encouraging my family, my friends to come here and spend a morning or spend an afternoon when they come to the Smokies. Now, one more thing I wanna mention really quickly is that they actually have bundle tickets that you can get when you're here or online. It's basically where you can get a pass to the aquarium, but in addition to that, you can actually get it bundled with the other attractions, Ripley's attractions that they have here in Gatlinburg and Pigeon Forge. So just to give you an idea of the other things in addition to the aquarium that you can bundle it with, you have Ripley's Believe It or Not here in Gatlinburg. You've got Ripley's 5D Moving Theater here in Gatlinburg. You've got Ripley's David Crockett Mini Golf here in Gatlinburg. Ripley's Haunted Adventure here in Gatlinburg. Ripley's Mirror Maze here in Gatlinburg. Ripley's Mountain Coaster here in Gatlinburg. Ripley's Old McDonald's Farm Mini Golf in Surveyorville. And then Ripley's Super Fun Zone here in Gatlinburg. And then finally, you've got Ripley's Super Fun Park in Pigeon Forge. So Ripley's has a ton of things that you and the family could do here. Now, I will say, I haven't been to many of those attractions, so I can't really speak to, are those really worth it? But what I can say is that if you and your family are gonna be visiting any of those attractions while you're here in Gatlinburg, Pigeon Forge, Surveyorville, you probably should go ahead and just get it bundled. That way you'll save a little bit of money on the tickets and it'll make your dollars just stretch a little bit further. Now, although they've got new programs that kind of come and go, they do 2 things pretty regularly that most people don't know about, but actually could be a lot of fun for your family. So I wanted to share these 2 things with you. The first one is pancakes and penguins. One kind of cool thing about this is that any guest above the age of 2 will go home with a special penguin painting. So you get breakfast, you get to interact with the penguins, you get a special photo op, and then you're able to kind of go home with a painting. Oh, that's all pretty cool. It's a really, really unique experience. The other unique experience that most people don't know that they do here is what's called the mermaid breakfast. So you basically get to meet and greet with a mermaid and watch a diving show while enjoying the hot breakfast and coffee at the Feeding Frenzy Cafe. That's very cool. I've never experienced it myself, but again, these are programs that most people don't realize are provided here and that you could look ahead, schedule ahead of time, go ahead and pay ahead of time. Speaking of paying, the mermaid breakfast, just so you know, for people who are 12 and older is $80. And then if your ages 2 through 11, it's $60. And if it's ages 2 and under, it's just $5. Obviously, they're not gonna be eating that much. And then they're going back to the pancakes with penguins. The cost on that for pancakes and penguins, if you're under the age of 4, it's free. If you are 4 years and older, it is one price, and that is $100 per person. All right, guys, if you found this video to be helpful and valuable to your family as you guys are planning your trip to the Smokies, either this summer or sometime in the near future, please smash that like button, click like for me. It goes a long way towards helping us be able to make more content like this to help you plan your next trip and spend the time with your family in the most intentional way while you're here. Have a great day, guys. I'll see you next time.